Hello everyone, welcome to another video on programming problem solutions. In this video, we will discuss LeetCode problem 125 named Valid Palindrome. A palindrome is a string which when spelled forwards and backwards is the same. You should carefully refer to the problem statement to check the conditions because sometimes, for example, the problem statement may state to ignore spaces when checking for palindrome, while for others it may not. In our problem statement, it is listed that our check should be case insensitive, and we should also remove any non-alphanumerical characters from our comparison. I'm going to break down the solution into two parts. First, we will come up with a common solution. That is, we will ignore any constraint such that during our check, we will consider every character. Then, we will add the constraints to our solution. To come up with a solution, we are going to exploit a property of palindrome. For example, if I have a palindrome here, A, B, A, which is, if you spell it forwards, it is ABA, and if you spell it backwards, it is ABA as well. So, this is a valid palindrome. Please note that this one has odd number of characters. If I have A, B, B, A in a string, this too is a valid palindrome, since when we spell it forward, it's A, B, B, A, and when we spell it backwards, it's ABBA as well. The property of a palindrome is that if you break it in half, AB, and reverse the other half, AB, they both will be the same. This worked for even number of characters. In case of odd number of characters, what we will do is we will consider the center element. That is, we will break from here. So, string is A, AB is equal to BA. To check if a string is palindrome, we will again use the approach of two indices. We will call these indices left and index right. The left index will start from the first character of the string, that is A, and the right index will start from the last character of a string, which is A as well. For each iteration, we will compare left with right character. If they are the same, we will move on to the next characters, that is left plus 1, B, and right minus 1. That is P again. Again, we will do a comparison. If they are the same, we will move on to the next character, that is C, and do a comparison again. You can see both indices are converging towards the center. So, our exit statement for the loop will be that we iterate till left less than equal to right. That is, they don't cross each other. In case when they cross each other, we can safely assume we have converged to the center. As such, we can exit and say that the string we have is a palindrome. If, for example, our string is not a palindrome and we are at this character X and character Y, we compare and they are not equal, we will return early and say that the string is not a palindrome. This is the theory behind the solution. Now, let us explore this theory with code. Here, I have main.go file, and inside it, I am going to create a function isPalindrome. It takes a string S and returns a boolean value that is true when the passed-in string is a palindrome and false when the passed-in string is not a palindrome. So, first we will initialize our indices left and right. Left will be equal to 0, that is the first character in the string, and then right, which is the last character in the string. We can use the len function to get the index of the last character in the string, len s minus 1. This is again because strings are 0 indexed. Now, we will write our main logic inside a for loop. For left less than equal to right, left char is equal to the character at the left index. Similarly, the right char is equal to the character at the right index. Next, we do the comparison between the left and right char. We will compare left and right. If they are not the same, we return false. After this, we need to move the left and right indices towards the center. So, left plus plus and right minus minus. If we exit out of the loop, that means that the passed-in string is a palindrome. So we can say return true. So this is the basic solution. Now let's modify it to suit our problem statement. To do that, I will create a helper function should skip. That is, if it's an invalid character or if it's not an alphanumeric character, we should skip and move on to the next character. I'm just going to create a helper function called should skip, which takes a byte and returns a boolean value to indicate if we should skip or not. So here, what I'm saying is, if the passed-in byte is not alphanumeric, we should skip it. or if it's a space, we should skip it as well. Now, in our isPalindrome function, we are going to use shouldSkip. First, let us perform the check on the left character. If we should skip the left character from the check, we should increase the left pointer or index to 1 and then continue on to the next iteration. Similarly, we will do a similar check for right char. This time, we need to do right minus minus because we are moving towards the center. So that should form our solution. Just to walk over it again, what we are doing is we are initializing a left and right index, which is two extremes of the string. One is the leftmost character and one is the rightmost character. Then we run a loop until left or right are equal, and inside the loop we have the left char, which is the character at left index, and the right char, which is a character at the right index. Then we perform checks if we should skip this character from checking. If that is the case, we increase the left index and continue on to the next iteration of the loop. Similarly, we do a similar check for right char and then we move the index inwards or the right index inwards and continue. If both the checks are false, that means we can compare the character at left index with the right index. If the character at right index and the left index are not the same, we can confirm that this is not a palindrome, and as such, we can return nullity with a false. If we reach here, we continue to move forward. That is left plus plus and right minus minus. Once we have completed a loop and reached here, we can safely say that this is a valid palindrome. So that's the solution for this problem. To test it, we are going to use few test cases. I am going to do fmt println the result of calling isPalindrome function. First, let's pass in a valid palindrome. So in this case, we should ignore the characters, the comma and colon. Let's run our program to verify the same. As you can see, we expected true, but we got a false return. That is because when we compare the characters, we are still considering the case. Instead, what we can do is we can use a function from strings package, which is toLower, that will convert the string to a lowercase string. So s is equal to strings toLower and pass in the string. If we run our program now, we should see true printed to the console. As expected, true is printed to the console. Now let's try with a string which is not a palindrome. So I'm going to run the program to verify the same. And as you can see, false is printed to the console. That's it for the lesson. I hope you enjoyed it. Please feel free to ask any questions you have by commenting under the video or reaching out to the Discord server. See you in the next lesson.